Okay, picture this. It's midnight. You're in East Java, Indonesia, and it is freezing cold up here on the crater rim.
But here's the weird thing. The ground under your feet, it's warm. It's all volcanic sand and ash. And that sharp, kind of funky smell in the air, yep, that's sulfur.
And you are not alone, not by a long shot. All around you, in the pitch dark, thousands of people are climbing, and they're carrying, well, everything. Heavy bundles with livestock, baskets piled high with food, flowers, even cash.
And where are they all going? They're heading straight for the edge of an active volcano to throw it all in. Literally right into the fire.
What you're witnessing is called Kasada. It's got to be one of the most incredible ceremonies on the planet, where an entire community gathers once a year to, well, to feed a volcano. So yeah, let's dive in and figure out what this is all about.
All right, let's start right where the action is hottest, literally, midnight at the crater of Mount Bromo. So what exactly is Kasada? Well, for the Tengger people of East Java, it is their most sacred ceremony of the year. Every single year, on a specific day in their lunar calendar, they come to this exact spot to fulfill a really, really old promise. And like we saw, they're definitely not showing up empty-handed. The stuff they bring is just mind-blowing. We're not talking about a few symbolic flowers here. This is valuable stuff. Chickens, goats, the absolute best of their harvest. It represents months, sometimes a whole year of savings and hard work.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why on earth would thousands of people take their most valuable possessions and just throw them into a bubbling volcanic crater? Well, the answer goes way, way back. It's all about a promise. So to get it, we've got to rewind the clock and look at where this promise came from. First, you need to know a little about the Tengger people themselves. They're a pretty remarkable community. See, centuries ago, most of Java converted to Islam, but the Tengger, they stayed in these mountain strongholds, and they held on to this very special form of Hinduism that's completely intertwined with the volcanic land they call home. And at the absolute core of their belief system is this incredible, powerful myth. It all starts with their ancestors, a couple named Roro Ontang and Joga Sigurd. They couldn't have children, so they prayed to the spirit of the volcano for a family. And you know what? It worked. The volcano gods granted them 25 children. But there was a catch, a terrible one. They had to sacrifice their last-born child back to the mountain. When the time came, their love for their youngest son, Kusuma, was just too strong. They broke their vow. And the volcano, it went berserk. It erupted in a massive fury. To save everyone, the young son, Kusuma, knew what he had to do. He walked right into that crater himself. And as he vanished into the fire, they say his voice echoed out from the crater, and he laid out the deal for every generation to come. So this isn't just some old fairy tale for them. This is the reason for the whole ceremony. Those offerings, that's them, every single year renewing that promise, keeping up their end of the bargain. Okay, so now that we know the story behind the promise, let's jump back to the crater rim. Because now, watching them feed the volcano makes a whole lot more sense. And let me tell you, this is no easy walk in the park. Getting to the top means climbing about 250 steps. And these steps are carved right into the side of the volcano. It's steep, it's sandy, and remember, they're doing all of this in the dark and the freezing cold. Now, this is where it gets even more fascinating. Up on the crater's edge, you have these two completely different scenes playing out at the same time. On the rim, it's all solemn prayer, this deep spiritual act of giving. But if you look down, way down inside the steep caldera, you've got other people, and they're waiting with nets, trying to catch the very same offerings being thrown in. And the scale here is just wow. It's a sheer drop. We're talking about 200 meters, straight down from this super narrow, crowded rim into this churning pit. You can feel the power, and you can definitely feel the danger. So you're probably wondering about these catchers, right? With their nets and big bags. Is this disrespectful? Is it sacrilegious? Well, actually, no. It's kind of seen as part of the whole system. The way they see it, the offering is given to the mountain. If some of that gift is then caught by people brave enough or desperate enough to be on those dangerous slopes, that's just seen as the mountain sharing its wealth. Which brings us to a really important final question. In our world today, how does an ancient promise like this even survive? Because, let's be honest, it's not easy. This tradition faces some serious challenges.
both from the outside world and from inside the community itself. I mean, for one, this thing has become a huge tourist magnet, and that creates a real tension between a sacred ritual and, a tourist spectacle. Then there's the challenge of making sure the younger generations really understand and carry on the tradition. Plus, finding and training new priests who know all the ancient rites, that's getting harder. And of course, the volcano itself is the ultimate wild card. It can become too active and dangerous at any time. But here's the bottom line. If you could strip away all the tourists, all the cameras, all the noise, what you're left with is a simple, powerful truth of Kasada. It is a community keeping a promise, an obligation they feel they owe to their ancestors, and they renew it every year because, for them, their survival literally depends on it. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. When you see a whole community honoring a promise made hundreds of years ago, it can't help but make you think, right? What are the promises, the unspoken agreements that shape our own lives, our own communities? What mountains, real or metaphorical, are we all feeding?